Hello, everybody, and welcome to what might be the last episode of this season.
My God, don't say it, Tim. I didn't carry that energy into the film, and even now I can't have my emotions toyed with in such a cavalier way.
But is it true? We've just watched Carry On, Emanuelle, because we failed to be able to see the only Japan-released sex chocolate in Emanuelle, which is a Willy Wonka
What is in that movie that means we can't see it?
I don't know.
And also, what are the chances that this Willy Wonka prequel starring Timothée Chalamet also has heavy sexual undertones?
Look, who cares? We're not here to talk about... We're definitely not here to talk about that version of it. And we're not even here to talk about sex chocolate and Emanuelle. We're here to talk about Carry On, Emanuelle. We're here to talk about a porno... I don't know when this one was made, actually. When was this made, Guy? Have you got the year for this?
No, but I can get it. We're talking about a porno parody. I'm going to guess like 78. Just pulling a number out of the sky.
This was the second to last Carry On film ever made. It is, I believe we've previously, I haven't done a lot of research today, but we've previously been told that this film we've just seen may be responsible in large part for the death of a giant. The Carry On franchise of British comedy films.
The Carry On franchise was an iconic sort of parody, I guess, I don't know, parody monolith.
It's almost like Panto. Everything's very big, a lot of slapstick, very Benny Hill style, if you're familiar with that, sort of big boobs and butts and everything's very childish. Slapstick.
And they weren't afraid to send up anything. If you were a historical event, if you were an institution, if you were a popular movie, you know, it was almost like a Simpsons cameo in the 90s, early 2000s. It was a mark of respect that you deserved the Carry On treatment. And so in many ways, this is flattering for the Emanuelle franchise. And in many ways, Tim, as I started watching this movie, I thought, who was this movie made for? Was it made exactly for us right here, right now? I feel like we are, right in the crosshairs of the people who could possibly find enjoyment in this movie. And
you
that is what makes
say
it...
that. You say that for so many movies we have to watch for this podcast, the worst idea of all time. You say, who was this movie made for? Us? Yes.
Well, I believe it to be true. Like a lot of these movies would be resigned to the scrap bin of history. And we shine our tiny little worst idea light on them, and they get just one last, shake of the tail. The thing about it is, though, because you're not wrong, I do say that a lot, and I did believe at the start of the movie that maybe this movie was made for us. A porno parodying the porno that we've spent a year with, that does feel custom built for us.
True.
And it is made it so disappointing that this is arguably the worst movie I've seen in my entire life.
Wow.
Didn't even make me angry, just made me so tired and so bored. I felt like there was nothing to latch onto.
That is shocking for me to hear, because this feels like a movie. And by the way, if you want to play along at home, this thing's on YouTube. We just watched a YouTube link. The movie in its entirety, someone's just uploaded. No one can be bothered copyright striking it. So there it is for all and sundry to enjoy. This feels like it would have been a bit of you. Gun to my head, I would have been like, I reckon Monty would have been into this.
Well, that's obviously in context. Outside of the podcast, you wouldn't assume I'd be into this, would you?
Well, I think that you would be able to derive an ironic enjoyment of watching the film, but it sounds like at no level did you get any pleasure out of this viewing experience.
Just like so frustrated.
You didn't come by the sounds of it?
No coming, no laughing. That's a bad day in my books.
Man, that's why I don't like Christopher Nolan. I went to all three of those Dark Knight movies, didn't come or laugh once.
Yeah, I found them hysterical, but I'm a bit of a joker myself. I live to laugh, and I like to upend the institutions and the sort of the way in which society conducts itself.
Then why weren't you into this Carry On film, a franchise which prides itself on upending these societal institutions?
One, Emanuelle is barely an institution worth upending, and two, They didn't even upend the Emanuelle franchise. They just they just cast a beautiful British woman as their Emanuelle proxy, and then she went around seducing or I don't know, like making eyes at and then seducing all these. It was just.
It's an incredibly interesting film. I enjoyed it just because of...
Interesting.
Yeah, totally.
I could not disagree with you more.
Well, not as a movie, but as a cultural relic and what it says about the British society of the day. That's kind of... I know it's like a little bit after, but sort of post-war England is this hotbed of sexual repression and prudish approach to sexuality. And like, there's one guy who's a full-on incel. We'll get to him later, though. Whatevs. The thing I want to celebrate about this movie, and undeniably was my shining light, so I'm going to get there early because the movie sure did, is a celebration of the Concorde aircraft. We open on the Concorde. The Concorde, for those who are possibly a little bit too young to remember, is a now retired jet, which I think was the first supersonic passenger jet ever. Wikipedia is now telling me it operated between 1976 and was retired in 2003. It had a maximum speed of Mach 2, twice the speed of sound, and it would fly from like Paris to
New York.
I think was its like main leg, and this was like the peak of that real like fancy, first class premium luxury feeling air travel where everything was just, you would wear a tuxedo to go and take a flight.
It is a very cool, very of its time premise. And the flight time from New York to London, Tim, was 2 hours, 52 minutes and 59 seconds. That was the fastest flight the Concorde recorded between London and New York. And that is undeniably cool.
Yeah. What's a normal... So what is it? London to...
I think 8 or 9 hours is the normal flight time.
Yes, you did right.
So it's 3 times faster.
That would be great for New Zealand. Imagine if we had some Concordes. Boy, could we do with them.
Well, did the Concorde get retired because it was dangerous?
I don't know if it would... It didn't... I don't think it crashed or anything. I don't think it had any... Did it? It was just uber expensive. And I remember watching a documentary years ago. They mentioned that the Concorde, because of how fast it was going, would kind of fuck up it would create so much flux in the air where other planes were traveling that it could create quite a dangerous environment if it kept going and had
That's
more
not
flight
their problem,
paths.
though. They're the Concorde.
Eat my dust. I'm Concorde. The round trip ticket for that New York to London flight would cost, in today's money, $13,000 US,
Wow.
which is quite a lot.
You're paying, I guess in that you're paying, I don't know what a ticket between New York and London would be today, but I guess
it's 1/30th that price.
Yeah. So that's a very expensive 6 hours you're buying, but you're also buying an anecdote.
Oh, that's what you're paying for, really. You know, I mean, anyone can take a 8 3/4 hour flight. You just do it at nighttime. Have a little nap. You wake up, you're in New York City, baby, the Big Apple. I've made it. And it's kind of nice. You sleep through the night, you wake up in the most exciting city on earth. Concorde kind of confuses you because you've traveled through quite like dramatic time zones. You get there, jet lag to fuck, but the whole trip was less than 3 hours? What the hell? That doesn't feel right.
No, it's very disorienting. But you loved the reference to the Concorde. And I'd like to say I did too. Like when they were on the plane and they had that great intro song playing and we were like in really familiar Emanuelle territory. I had shades of Sylvia Christel and George Lazenby sitting thigh to thigh.
Yeah.
And there were like gags and clearly defined characters. That's when I wrote down, was this movie made for us in this exact moment? And all the way up to like there was a great gag where, because the nose of the Concorde, I believe, could go up. So the very tip, the front of the Concorde plane was retractable in some way. And in this, in one of the scenes, Emanuelle seduces some dweeby incel guy in the little toilet, and they join the Mile High Club. And
Mr. Valentine's. One of those two.
Theodore Valentine, yeah. And as he is given an erection, we cut to a sort of external shot of this Concorde stand-in, and there's like a Monty Python style almost visual gag of the very tip of the plane going up to represent his erection. And I liked that. I liked everything about the movie up until that point.
I am just reading now that there was, a Concorde did crash in 2000 and over 100 people died. So that might have
that doesn't help.
Contributed.
But Malaysia Air is still flying.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay, good for them. Good for them.
Yeah. I actually felt like after that aircraft disappeared, I was like, why wouldn't you fly them now? They're cheap, and surely they're working 3 times as hard as any other airline to make sure their planes get from A to B.
Yeah.
Is that flawed? Is that flawed?
I mean, it works in most areas and cases, I think, but with aviation, the margins are so wafer thin that I think when you're MA, in the wake of a disaster, you probably legitimately do have less crew and less like safety checks because you just can't afford to do it anymore. But I don't know. Don't know for sure. All I know is I love Concorde and I want it to come back.
Hell yeah. Where would you go?
Really, it started the movie on such a great note for me. I was like, fuck yeah.
Just before we can talk about this god-awful movie again, 3 hours, the plane takes you wherever you want. Where are you landing?
You're asking me?
Right now.
Oh, so like where would I want to go? London, baby. From New Zealand, you can't, because what does it take, like 18 hours or something in the air?
It's about 2 11, 12-hour flights.
Yeah. So definitely that, because I feel like you could do it in 5-6 hours. Amazing. Go and see my brother Dave.
Yeah.
Go visit. I've only been to London once ever, and it was when we did the live show there, and it was for 3 days, I think.
We had a fucking good time.
Yeah, an awesome time. And that would be my dream. Where would you want to go, Guy? Via the Concorde supersonic passenger jet.
I want to go and land in New York. I want to go back to New York immediately, and I want it to take 3 hours. Yeah. If it takes 3 hours, you can conceivably, the footprint is obviously it doesn't even bear consideration. This is all hypothetical, but imagine going to New York for a day from Auckland, New Zealand.
Rich people would do it.
Rich people do it, I guess.
Yeah.
Rich people just do whatever the fuck they want.
Why can't and
why wouldn't you?
What's that jet that the Americans have just sunk their entire national economy into for about a decade? The F-35?
Tim Bat shit. I got no idea, but I'm interested to hear it.
They should. Well, okay, I'll try and get to the wiki bit about how much it's cost, but I think it's the F-35. It's just cost a stupefying amount of money. They should refashion those and start putting people in them, doing chartered flights.
Hell yeah. Well, while you research that, I might as well continue to highlight my problems with this movie, and I think it all comes back to the same thing. Now, while we've been doing this Emanuelle season, the whole time I've been thinking I would sooner watch one bad movie over and over than 40-something sort of low-grade softcore pornography films. I feel like at least I understand what I'm getting out of that, and it might not be clear to anyone else, and that might sound like an odd formula, but that's how I feel. This movie sort of proved that wrong, because the idea of revisiting this movie was painful to me, and I wanted to drill down into why. And I think where it went wrong for this film, and where the Emanuelle movies that we've watched throughout the season have been better, is that it's neither the way it reads is it's neither comedy nor porn. Some of those Emanuelle films, especially the Emanuelle Through Time ones and Emanuelle in Space, they're both. And this, by being a mature rated parody, which was totally devoid of, laugh lines or plot, it's just and it's also such a light parody of Emanuelle. If you didn't know the source material was Emanuelle, that is purely used as the entry point for the film. Otherwise, what are you getting out of this being a parody of the Emanuelle franchise?
I definitely think this is comedy. It's not comedy I enjoy. It's not anything I would laugh at, for example. But it is the British sensibility of the 1970s. Or I would actually say like the 1950s, really, because the weird thing about this movie, and I guess it's because it's Carry On at the end of the Carry On life cycle, but all the cast are like 70 years old, which is a very confusing age bracket to put in for your porn parody.
Well, yeah, I feel like just from the limited research I've done, a lot of the legacy Carry On actors are in this movie. Yeah. And there's a lot of like grief and consternation that this is how what was like a heralded and triumphant franchise, you know, this is how it ends, not with a bang, but with a fucking withering erection.
Can you imagine the moral panic from Margaret Thatcher voters seeing their beloved Carry On franchise go to hell in a handbasket with one shot of bare female nipple? And it isn't Emanuelle's. It's the nurse.
Yeah. There are a few derrieres on the loose, a few butt shots. I mean, so in this movie, Emanuelle,
before you get onto that, by the way, do you want to take a guess at how much the F-35 has cost over its life in American dollars?
$50 billion?
It's more than that. It's 8 years behind schedule right now.
Nice. Nothing like sinking more than $50 billion into your airplane to be 8 years behind schedule. $100 billion?
More.
$200 billion?
More.
$400 billion.
It involves a T word.
Okay.
1.7 trillion US dollars. That's how much it's cost the American taxpayer.
Does that mean we need to murder the American taxpayer?
What, to get the money off them?
In keeping with Side Hustle on the Killionaire podcast.
Oh, don't cross the streams. If you want to know what Guy's talking about, you can subscribe to our Patreon. But if not, we need to keep that off the free, the free air.
That is very funny to me. America, you had such a big head start. Get it together. Why do you keep fucking this up in front of everyone?
Oh, sure. Anyone can cherry pick a country's $1.7 trillion military blowout for a cool jet. Yeah. It doesn't quite work yet.
Otherwise, an unblemished history and track record.
Yes.
So I'm just going to sort of brush over.
Guy, I wish you would.
Plot of the movie. So Emanuelle is on a plane. She's the wife of a French ambassador. We are currently like really heavily taking plot points from the first Emanuelle, where she's visiting an ambassador in Thailand, a UK ambassador to Thailand. But he's a French ambassador. He lives in France. And neither the actor who plays it, in England, in London. And neither the actor who plays Emanuelle or the man whose name is Kenneth Williams, he's one of the legacy Carry On actors. Neither of them are French. And in and of itself,
audibly so.
That's okay. But yeah, neither of them are French, and neither of them have bothered to hear a French person speak. They are doing accents in the same way that I or any low-grade improviser might perform a French accent in a scene where you are cast as French. And I think in the fleeting moment of a scene which is only going to exist in real time, in a live performance, that is just permissible. But if you are carrying an entire movie built around two characters being French in the UK, that is a pretty big obstacle.
Yeah, it's not perfect. I didn't think it was so terrible. But I'm loath to criticize anyone for something that I am very bad at. You know what I mean?
Can you do you do a great French? Can you do your French?
No, I can't do any kind of a French.
Oh my gosh, you sound like you're not from around these parts. Are you from France?
I can't take the offer, Guy. I just can't. It's not going to happen today. It's not going to happen on this episode. It may happen at some point in the future, but it's not going to happen for you today. I'm so sorry to report.
The ambassador's accent, Kenneth Williams, who was the French ambassador to the UK, his accent, his facial experience, his entire his facial experience, his facial expressions, his entire
no. His facial experience.
Yeah, his facial experience, which in turn became my viewing experience, was antagonistic towards me.
Do you know what I think this is? I think it's not quite Uncanny Valley because it's not close enough, but I think this is like getting toward. It's like, I don't think this is a million miles away from stuff you would enjoy, but because it's been done badly, that makes you all the more angry about it. You know what I mean?
I think you're right, and I think the other thing is, and this is unreasonable because I knew just from like talking about this through the season and what I'd seen that this was a bad movie, but I wanted it to be good. Like the thing is, when you go into a movie and the first scene's okay and you think, is this made for me? You want that movie to be good so badly because like, what if it is made for me? What if, because of the amount of work I've done, like the amount of leg work I've done watching porn to get to this point means that I actually do enjoy this, like in a transcendent way, beyond the fact that it was dismissed by the public and by critics at the time. And I wanted that. Another factor, Tim, that is less to do with the movie and more to do with circumstance is that, like, today is we're for people listening in the future or even in the current time, we are in a lockdown, and it has been like some really wild, confusing weather in Auckland. It's been raining a lot. The days can't make up their minds. Today is the first like bluebird, crystal clear, wonderful day that we have had in what feels like a long time. We get maybe one a week at the moment, and my entire emotional state is tethered to the weather currently. And I don't like that. It's just how it is. Like, I'm not in charge of how I feel.
Yeah.
The sky is.
Yeah.
And today the sky is telling me to feel good. And I'm sitting in a room and this movie is telling me to hate myself. And
I'm so sorry, man. It sucks.
Honestly, it's fine. But there's all these... Yeah.
Also, I do find it incredibly funny.
As well you should. It's just all of this stuff working together that made me just like, I wanted to laugh, man. I will tell you my shining light because I do feel like I'm railroading this podcast by being so negative. And that was, there's a scene where a lot of these 70-plus-year-old characters, Emanuelle like somehow encourages them. There's all the staff who work at the ambassador's residence, and they all wind up sitting around the kitchen in the residence, and like, you know, the ambassador doesn't really deal with them. He's this asexual sort of impotent guy who's really into bodybuilding, and Emanuelle's always trying to have sex with him, and he's like, don't get in the way of my bodybuilding. And so she goes off and she's having sex with these other people. And all the staff are kind of, they like to speculate about their boss and his weird proclivities. But eventually there's a scene where she encourages them all. They all sit around the kitchen. They reminisce on their sort of most interesting or unusual sexual experiences. And it's like, as far as comedic setups go, you've got a lot of potential there. And it's just like, it's just a slow letdown. This like
So in this room, from memory, there's 4 people who can share their stories of Emanuelle solicit for the most unusual amorous encounter they have ever had. We've got a very old man of sort of a 90-year vintage, I would say, who can sort of not hear anyone, which is a recurring visual gag for the thing.
And Tim, it gets better every time. This guy can't hear a damn thing.
We've got, do you know, on autoplay on YouTube after the Emanuelle Carry On
thing
thing
finished, the documentary?
Yeah, I did. And that guy saying in the first 3 minutes of it, the thing about Carry On, don't be afraid to make the same joke again and again and again. Because it's on that third one that it'll bang through. And I was like, yeah, okay.
As a comedian, I admire it. Like, I think commitment to the bit is one of the most noble, like, it really shows what a knife edge that exists on, because commitment to the bit when the bit is funny is like, and you're riding the wave of it's funny and not funny is commendable. But like, and then this is what an open mic experience is commitment to the bit against like an overwhelming body of evidence that it's not a good bit.
Comedy is so hard and complicated from that point of view. To like the difference between something being a sensational joke or just fucking nothing, just like either annoying or moderately offensive, is very razor thin.
Well, it almost comes down to like something as unquantifiable as energy, like the energy coming off of the person and where that collides with the energy of the room. And in this instance, the energy coming off the actor meeting the energy that I was generating in the room made for several bombs of the same joke. Yes.
So who else is in the room? We've got the very old war vet who can't hear anything. We've got this kind of matriarchal, I don't know what her role is in the house.
I feel like she runs the kitchen.
Yeah, that feels
We've got
right.
like a chauffeur, and then we've got like
no, hold on, because the chauffeur is a cool guy.
Well, the chauffeur, he has my shining light. So his sexual reminisce involved a line which was, it raised a smile from me, and it was my genuine shining light.
What was it?
They're all telling their stories about weird sexual trysts or whatever, and his one is he picked up a woman, or a woman picked him up, and they went back to her house. And I actually also, this is not my shining light, but weirdly, like the mise en scene of her bedroom that they'd set up for the flashback. There's something about the layout of the bedroom. I was like, that feels really like specific. That feels really genuine to me. Time and place. Like this feels like
historical.
I'm in this woman's bedroom, and I admired that. They love like I don't know what to say. Something about like the style of carpeting that they had in there. There's something about the carpet on the floor. I felt really British, really like I was there. Anyway, he's talking, he's reminiscing, and he's got this great. It's not Jason Statham, but
no,
it might be. It might be where Jason Statham learned to speak.
He's been driving cabs for a long time.
Yeah.
He knows these streets.
And he's reminiscing about it, and he talks about the whole experience. And this woman takes him home, and they undress quickly, and that's voiceover overlaid with them very slowly and difficultly undressing themselves and one another. And then he says, and then the husband came home, and this drunk husband comes home, and he's hiding in this cupboard, and the wife puts the husband to bed, and then she reunites with him in the cupboard. And then he says, he's sort of talking about what happened, and he says, the line that is my shining light is he says, the details are too pornographic, even for you lot. And I just think it's a great turn of phrase. I just like the sentence, and I like his delivery of it. I like, the details.
Those old London cab drivers would be probably among the funnest type of characters to write dialogue for, because they've got a quip for everything, and they're delivered with these really cool accents. There's a tete-a-tete where he is driving Emanuelle around London and kind of lazily trying to hit on her.
Yeah.
Like at one point he says, come up the front, love will be less lonely. And she just doesn't respond. He goes, well, it's not compulsory. And I liked that kind of, he just kind of keeps lobbing it out there, but not being too worried about it.
That didn't get a laugh in the movie, but you doing it got a laugh. Also because you married it to the actual kind of person that is. And those people, if you're in the mood, are hilarious, and if you're not, are like grating. And I actually feel like, and this is probably condescending, but I feel bad in my bones about people who are joking all the time when I don't find it funny. I'm like, oh, this is your entire like.
Again, man, I think it's because it's so close to you, but not quite. It's like if something was super different from you, you wouldn't care. It's that whole thing. The opposite of love is not hate. It's dispassion. It's just not caring. But something is getting so close to what you are and you love and you value, but kind of fucking it up a little bit on that last hurdle, that is what makes you incensed.
I think you might be right. And this podcast has taken on a whole different timbre, with like, because I am at such an unusual ebb. And like it's, the prism through which we're having this conversation, or the prism through which we're discovering this about myself, is so unique, and like it's such a long build up to get to it. But I really feel like you're onto something, and that terrifies me. But
who else is? Oh, the butler's the only other person in the room telling his story.
But they all sit around, and so I mean. It's not even worth recounting the plot of this movie. Basically, the whole time, Emanuelle wants to have sex with her husband. Her husband wants to bodybuild. He doesn't want to deal with her. She goes up and sort of like embarrasses him and is, well, not deliberately. She's just like
moderately, but he's not as perturbed as all these uptight, stuffy British people.
She goes around seducing and having sex with anyone, and she's sort of indiscriminate and doesn't care. And he doesn't care either. But who does care is the incel, Theodore Valentine, the guy who she's,
is he in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory? The OG one?
I'll do some research for you.
Oh, that's much appreciated. I felt like he was a newspaper man, like a journalist in
Gene Hackman's Willy Wonka.
Gene Hackman's Willy Wonka, I haven't seen that movie in a good long while, but there was just, I got like a pang of it when he came on. He's in the first, while guys looking this up, so Mr. Valentine, Theodore Valentine is in the first, he's on the Concorde flight and has an amorous encounter with Emanuelle, and he's very flustered and doesn't really know how to cope with it and gets quite scared because this is that quintessential uptight British man who is 34 years old and still living with mother and has a confusingly Freudian relationship with her.
I don't mean to disappoint, but it is my belief that
not in it? Okay.
Not in it, yeah. I said Gene Hackman.
Oh,
I meant Gene Wilder.
Yeah.
Gene Hackman is Willy Wonka?
Gene Hackman is fuck Timothy, get the fuck out of here. I want to see Gene Hackman as Willy Wonka.
Sort of grizzled chocolate veteran.
Yeah, and I want Michael Bay to direct that movie. I want the Golden Ticket kids to get fucked up. Yeah, I want them to get like missile striked.
I'd love to see the unfollowable action sequences of Oompa Loompas like carrying out
Oompa Loompas,
Violet Beauregard, like coming at her from all angles in these sort of confusing fucking Dutch tilted mid-air collisions.
They've secretly they've been stealing scrap metal for years and constructing their own machine guns in the corners and start a violent overthrow of the factory. Willy Wonka's just trying to like keep everything together while he's under attack from his own employees and these ticket winners keep fucking up his factory.
When you think of Gene Hackman, what's the first movie you think of him in?
Oh, there's one, I think is he in Red October? It's like one of those sorts that I can like see a VHS cover in my mind's eye with him on it.
The main thing
is that I don't even know if I've seen a Gene Hackman movie, but like Line of Duty, is he in that?
The main, I don't know, maybe the main one I think of is weirdly The Replacements. He's the coach of Keanu Reeves in this ragtag team of ne'er-do-wells in The Replacements.
Huh. I might have made up a movie called In the Line of Duty as well.
No, that's a title that exists. Can I also ask you, Tim, at a guess, how old is Gene Hackman today?
85.
91.
Wow. And still going?
He's alive, if that's what you mean.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
I don't know if he's
the side of life.
I don't know if he's like going.
All right. Let's. Now I've got to look up Gene Hackman's filmography to see what I know him from. I feel like he's in all those war ones. He's always like yelling at a room of generals, and maybe he is a general. Maybe he's in charge of the generals.
That does feel like the sort of shit Gene Hackman will get up to.
Enemy of the State. That was a big one. That Will Smith one, which had a great tagline from memory. Just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not after you, or something like that.
You see, it's great.
I butchered it, but it was good.
It's great, but also if you are paranoid, it's probably the last thing you need to read. I just also want to say that Will Smith, while you mention him, read a GQ interview with him recently. Which film do you think is his greatest regret? He's got one project that he describes as a thorn in his side.
Matrix? Oh, like doing or not doing?
Doing. But also the timing of that is right because it's a combination of doing and the not doing which that led to.
Oh, so he did something else while Matrix was happening.
Yeah.
So that's 99. Oh, Wild Wild West.
Wicked, wicked, wild, wild west. When I roll into the wild, wild west. You would have thought that, being fine. The steampunk legacy that iconic Western sci-fi comedy left in its trail would be enough to temper any regrets about not starring in The Matrix.
We got to get back to the movie. Okay?
We don't have to.
Carry On Emanuelle features a character called Theodore Valentine who, through the movie, meets and then falls in love with Emanuelle and then plots to violently kidnap her at gunpoint so that she can move in with him and his mother into their flat.
Hell yeah.
Which is terrifying. And he goes through with this plan, brings the gun, takes her out. He disguises his voice as an Australian bodybuilder who Emanuelle is introduced to through the fitness instructional tapes that her ambassador husband is watching.
What was his name?
And then gets
again?
introduced to him. I don't know. He was I can't remember.
He had a great name. It was
I like that he was Australian. I like that was Britain's vision of Australia.
I took great comfort in hearing an Australian accent in this movie. I was like, here's a fucking guy I can get on board with.
Finally, someone to attach myself to, a bodybuilder. So, he pretends that he is the bodybuilder, lures Emanuelle outside, then puts a gun to her and gets her to go into the car. And Emanuelle's super chill about it, which I guess you'd have to be, because if you actually acknowledge the horror of the situation, this far and away stops being anything resembling pornographic or comedic.
Harry Hernia.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That is a good name. See, they had some fun. It wasn't all dross.
I don't know. Figuring out alliteration for a character title in a porn parody does not feel like... Putting Hernia
onto a bodybuilder's name, it's comedy to me.
Well, it's an approximation of comedy.
It is, isn't it?
You didn't enjoy this.
No, I didn't. No, you're absolutely right. But what it served as for me was like a anthropological artifact that someone had uncovered. It was like a time capsule of the things that very like broad British society was enjoying at this time.
See, I think for me that makes sense, but for me there was too much. This movie, it's too much Carry On and not enough Emanuelle. I'm looking for respite. I'm looking for like something that ties together my experience of the year and the season of the podcast. And instead I just got served up like barely relevant, end of the line late 1970s British parody, and it just it incensed me more than it satisfied me.
I haven't thought of it in these terms, but I think it's important we do explore this a little bit. This we must have embarked on this. My sense of time and recent history is just out the door. I can't place anything in chronological order or tell you when anything happened. But COVID-19 has been around for about 2 years now, right?
Yeah.
So we picked doing this Emanuelle season like after one of the first lockdowns in New Zealand.
We reunited and we said we'd watch some porn because we were trying to be like we wanted to watch porn after midnight on a Friday. Yeah.
So I guess we started out of lockdown and then went into but it's just like there's something about the fact that I don't know, this season has been so, to my mind, patchy and they're all difficult, but this has been difficult in a unique, exciting, brand new way.
Like, it's been, honestly, Tim, it's been an incredibly confusing and exhausting, confusing and exhausting through line in my life for the last however long.
There was something about the other seasons where the format is we sit down and we watch and review the same movie, which is like utterly painful, but there is some sense of comfort that comes from the familiarity and meeting of expectations.
Stockholm syndrome. This is like getting kidnapped by a cousin of the same person every week.
It's like being kidnapped by your twin. Someone you share the exact genetic code of, because you're like, I know we were brought up the same way, we've got the same DNA, I know how this person's going to roll. These Emanuelle movies have us all discombobulated because we don't even know if there's porn coming up. We don't know if it's going to be like vaguely enjoyable, if there'll be a deft hand on the director's chair this time. And it's been this kind of tumultuous experience, which in some small way has sort of mirrored the experience of the last year and a half to 2 years of living with this pandemic.
Like it is, yeah.
And I wonder, would it have been in some ways easier for us or more like emotionally useful to have gone with same movie once again, because all these things are changing around us, but at least we know we have to watch X movie again, and this happens, and then this happens.
It's hard to say because there's been no rhythm to our scheduling either because of the nature of the world, and like also the life changes that have been rung in during this time. Like, you know, literally across the span of this season, you have like you and Zoe have created new life. Like, you know, it's not just that someone was born, it's that like the entire experience of creation has underscored like
that is very funny that the whole pregnancy has been undertaken while I do these weekly porn watches with Guy.
Well, it's like,
that's a funny marrying.
Not that you don't get to watch. Not that you don't watch porn if you're married and a parent, but like, you know, there is this incredible dichotomy between the pursuit of this season of the podcast and then, you know, the really beautiful and like truly celebratory and incredible, you know, moments and steps that you've taken in your personal life. It's just like it has been an incredibly disorienting experience. This entire season has like I walk away from it and I don't know how to feel.
I think that's good. I think it's good to not always know what the lessons are, especially because it's not for us to know. I think it's for each person listening to derive their own like meaning and value from the project.
Remy, and I know we've probably spoken about this already, but Remy can like, how many children can listen, even in passing? This is not, you know, this podcast has not been expressly about, you know, the journey of the pregnancy and birth and like, you know, the first months and years of Remy's life. But how many children can listen back to, you know, one of their parents discussing their experience of life in the world, spanning across the time in which they are being grown?
I think you're turning this into something it's not. This podcast is not a journal of our lives. This is us discussing bad pornography every week.
It's not a journal, Tim, but it is a snapshot, and it's a time capsule. When you married this to COVID-19, you really made me realize that we have put a marker down in the ground, that this is what we were doing while the world was gripped by a pandemic, the likes of which, with the modern technology that affords connectivity, we've never confronted before.
Well, you're right. You're right about that. I don't know what it means. I don't know if it's good or bad.
And I'm not done. Even if we don't watch another Emanuelle, Tim, I put it to you. There's another movie that is inside of the oeuvre of the Emanuelle season that we quite simply cannot miss before we put a bow on this thing.
What?
Well, it stars me, of course.
Hello, George Lazenby, world's greatest listener, owner of an insatiable boner.
I hope you don't mind Guy and I organizing this sort of impromptu pitch, not for a pornographic movie we want to make, so much as a non-pornographic movie that we think we should watch.
Do go on. I would love to hear what it is.
Well, you might know me best for my time on the Emanuelle series, sitting thigh to thigh with Sylvia Christel while we fondly reminisce on her sexual experiences. But what if I told you the world best knows me for my time as a certain character named James Bond? Oh, fuck.
Are you, George Lazenby, suggesting that me, Tim Batt, Guy Montgomery, and you sit down and watch on Her Majesty's Secret Service the 1969 Bond movie to cap off this season of pornography watching?
It's precisely what I'm suggesting.
I could think of no more sensible or fitting end to the Emanuelle season of the worst idea of all time.
Gonna be honest, it makes me nervous to watch it with you. I hope you don't stick around for our 3-person conversation. We'll see how we go.
I'd be disappointed if you don't. What an incredible opportunity.
Easy for some people to say.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But I'm very into challenging my friends. Even when I refuse to do a French accent for even the briefest of moments. At any rate, look, I think that's a wonderful idea. I think we should do it.
Thank you.
It's exciting, and I haven't watched that movie in decades.
Well, George, I'm embarrassed to say I haven't watched it ever. No time like the present.
Yeah, true that. All right, well, we'll get that on the books. That'll be how we end it. If anyone does know how we can get our hands on Emanuelle Sex and Chocolate, though, feel free to get in touch. Worstideaofalltime.com's got all the sort of methods to contact us on there. But otherwise, that one looks like a tough nut to crack. Otherwise, we will be ending this fantastic season with On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
The only way we know how.
Australian underwear model turned one-time Bond, George Lazenby. I believe we've just got one small piece of unfinished business in this episode, Guy. And I did see him skulking around outside by a bush.
Fuck.
I believe I saw the boner
Inspector!
There he is.
Boner Inspector!
He's too loud, and he definitely shouldn't be that loud.
Yes, well, you know, I like the way the shirt looks, and this is how I talk.
Yes, very cool. Boner Inspector, hello.
Hello.
We've just watched Carry On Emanuelle.
I know, I heard. I wondered, given Carry On Emanuelle's categorization as a parody rather than a porno, whether or not it would even be worth passing by. But then I thought, do you know what? A couple of comedians, they might get boners in unusual places at unusual times. Maybe a good joke's what they need to send them over the edge. And so I'm here with my clipboard in this loud Hawaiian shirt. No trousers. You can't see that. They're framed out. And I'm just wondering, did you get a boner today, Tim? Doesn't have to be about the movie.
I'm so sorry to say that I haven't had a boner today, and I'll tell you what prevented it from happening specifically in this film, which is the fact that every person on screen, except admittedly the lead titular Emanuelle, was of pension age.
Don't say it, lest you be ostracized by the ever-important podcasting listenership that is 70 plus. No one's embraced this exciting new medium with more vim and vigor than pensioners. And for you to cast them aside as sexually uninteresting or unarousing is, well, it's nothing short of rude.
What do you think, Guy? Do you agree with the Boner Inspector?
No. I mean, look, I'm not saying that they're not for some people, but it's just not to my taste. Me neither. Like Tim, I didn't attain it. Honestly, the entire time I watched it, the boner was the least of my concerns. I just wanted to laugh. I almost wanted to tally my yawns. Do you know anyone who's a yawn inspector who inspects people's yawns? Because no, that's a totally different line of industry, and I frankly have no time or interest in people who inspect yawns. Anyone can see a yawn. People publicize their yawns in public. It's true.
Boner Inspector, there's something so disappointing because I think we've had a clean sweep potentially from both of us. I know there's been movies where we've gotten sort of
yes, there have been murmurs. I've got them written down here.
Yeah. Well, look, we've got one more opportunity at plate, which is On Her Majesty's Secret Service, those James Bond movies.
The Lazenby Bond film.
Yeah, they're very horny movies.
Those Bonds are, yeah. I mean, you've got your world-famous Bond girls.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the Bond girl in that movie?
I can't remember off the top of my head. Do you happen to know, Boner Inspector?
I think it was Diana Rigg.
Okay, sounds right.
Yeah, if memory serves, she was an English actress of stage and screen.
Do you happen to know who did the theme song? If you've got maybe a book or a piece of information with you.
Yeah, I'm a massive Lazenby head. I believe the theme song was done by
John Barry. Just do a cool. I feel like that had a slightly, because usually they get pop, icons.
It was John Barry.
It was?
Yeah, I just checked in my memory.
It's a good one from memory. It's a very good one. So
Sick.
I'm looking forward to seeing that
I'm
credit
psyched
sequence
for you
at the
guys.
start. Yeah.
I hope you get a freaking boner.
Maybe I will. maybe I'll crack a big fat for the orchestral talent of John Barry's Bond Orchestra.
Here's hoping.
Okay, well, we'll see you then. Time will tell. Goodbye, Boner Inspector.
Toodle pip.
Good day. All right, Guy. Well, I guess we'll see you on the next episode, which will be the actual final one of this season. Exciting prospect. It's been an honor going through these Emanuelle films with you, Guy. I can't say it's always been. Not every moment has been fun.
Well, I think,
but in totality, it's been, I think, above all, important.
Yeah. I believe, as Chris Martin from Coldplay once said, nobody said it was easy. And then other lyrics. Thanks, Tim. Nice to talk to you. I'm going to get out there and enjoy this day.
Sounds good. All right, buddy. Take care. Bye-bye.